My name is Don Lewis, and I'm a curator of sorts. Artists, musicians, sculptors, painters from around the world. But here in America, we'd like to say congratulations to those incredible artists in Seoul who will be joining us here in the United States for streaming live YouTube channel, tag gallery, celebration of some incredible experiences. So please join us for a talk through longing.
Hi, my name is Youngman Kang. I'm a filmmaker, content creator, and festival director. Today, I'm a host and curator for this art talk, live show, collaborative Buil Contents in Seoul to Tag Gallery in Los Angeles. This is a very special event. I'm so happy to announce our special guest for this art talk. Okay, first guest is Bob Chu.
Hello, my name is Bob Chu, and I am an artist and the president of the Artist Gallery known as TAG here on Wilshire Boulevard in Los Angeles. Today we're going to do Art Talk Live. It's live streaming, talking about great Korean art from Los Angeles to Seoul.
Hello, my name is Rhonda Burton. I'm an artist. I have shown and sold my work nationally and internationally. I'm the vice president of TAG Gallery, and I am currently going to be speaking with artists, the Korean artists, in their show Talk Through Longing.
Hi, my name is Layla Alamiri. I'm a photographer, a designer, and have worked in arts administration for 15 years, currently working here at TAG. Today, we are looking at art from Korean artists and giving our opinions and insight.
Hi there, my name is David Stewart Klein, and I'm an international fine artist and a musician-composer. Today I'm going to be examining some of the work from the Korean exhibition Talk Through Longing. Let's go check it out.
Now, this particular artist is quite amazing in that how photorealistic the work is. And again, it's one color, or largely,
More or less,
95% of it, with the one focal point being the center iris, I guess, in the center of it.
Yeah, the warm color pushes out when you have all that cool and then the black background.
It's amazing. What's really strikes me are the sharpness of the edges around the petal. That's tough to do. And then the blending of the dark blue into the lighter blues.
Several dancers kind of, you can't see their faces, but they're kind of dancing around each other.
Right.
Something about flowers that we all love and gravitate towards. And this artist has painted this so well. The strokes here, where the light's hitting, the somewhat fade. It's really beautiful. It makes me think of a Mapplethorpe photo where he photographed flowers too, but in black and white. But this artist is painting in color, and it's divine, and it's just stunning.
You can feel it's a bearded iris, so you can actually feel, in essence, the fuzziness. They've created such a nice technique. I love the edges. You're right. The light coming in, the ripple of each petal is beautifully done as well, and it's a really nice piece.
Yes, this one is more painterly.
Yeah.
Not as photorealistic, but it's still an amazing piece. Again, using really just a few colors with varying shades. The folds, like you say, are just kind of very impressive to get that kind of shadowing and shaping like cloth. And again, down here it's much more photorealistic, and here it's less so.
Yeah.
The black background really pops too. It makes it pop. And it's quite an impressive technique this artist has.
But I like how it seems like there's something that you can see underneath some light. And
Yes, right. Like particularly like down here at the bottom, like that little piece under there that makes. Now again, you look at the focal point of this, and you're looking at where's the lightest light and the darkest dark.
Yeah.
And it's actually, where is it? It might even be down here.
Yeah, this is the nice
It's
little
kind
transition.
of interesting that it's be down so low.
Yeah.
Traditionally, you'd want it in this area or up in here.
And the warm colors are underneath, so that makes this kind of pop out.
Yes, that's
Even though that's on top of it, which is kind of an interesting choice.
very tough. And they got the purple, and these purples as a shadow there of that white, which is really very good. particular artist, it's all about the texture and sort of these color fields, and a lot of impasto. I see a lot of thickness here, and so really, what is the statement here? Which is, you know, we really want to have this a very really be able to crunchy feel to it, and be able to sort of hold it in your hand. The colors are a bit, what are they? They're transitional colors. They're not real cool. They're not real warm.
Still, definitely not very saturated.
The main thing is that there's no, usually, you want to have like some contrast, and this is all kind of the same value.
Yeah, it is.
Which doesn't make as dynamic a painting as it might, but the texture is really what story is here.
Well, it's clearly summer. Hydrangeas bloom in the summer. I have a bunch of them on the side of my yard, and they are this gorgeous purple color and the blues, and they're luscious. They're big and full, and when I cut them, they stay for quite a while in the house, but they are so, it just is summer to me. Every time I see them, I know that it's takes me back to when I was a kid, my grandfather planting. But this is lovely. It's, I love the green. Mm-hmm. I love the fact that it takes you in on the other side. And it's a beautiful piece.
It's absolutely stunning. Definitely impressionistic. I see Monet. Mm-hmm. I would love to see an entire wall of this. Honestly, could you imagine just of this? It's so beautiful. You feel good when you see this. It takes you back to that summer day, and the brush strokes, and really the differential focus too. We know what it is, but it's not realism.
No.
It's very painterly. There's movement, the way the pinks blend with the blue, and there's this touch of green. It's just dreamy.
This piece at least has more of a sense of depth to it. There's a foreground where you see some sea foam and a darker contrast against it. And you could see the clouds, but I think a lot of it is the same exact texture across. So it's almost like you can see it's kind of painted on a cave wall or something like that. Like I wouldn't necessarily say that it looks like a sky. Like the texture doesn't represent a sky, but I think it's about the texture, and that's what they're trying to get across. Maybe this sandy, grainy feeling throughout the whole thing.
I agree. I like the high horizon idea, which gives a sense of depth and distance to the distant shoreline. There's like a hint of a mountain or some sort of hills and the boats, and I agree with you. I like the contrast of the light with the dark here in the foreground and the high horizon line. I agree. The texture's kind of very interesting in that it looks almost like maybe you're like looking through a window and the water is splashing it hitting. So that's kind of a cool effect. But you're right. It is the same everywhere.
Yeah.
I don't know if that works. It's a little different, and it kind of actually brings some harmony for the whole piece.
Contrast of I can't tell if that's gold leaf or gold paint, pushes forward the figurative distortion that's going on. It's almost like a landscape. It's not really fully grounded in reality. It's kind of neither here nor there, and then there's this foreground that leads up to the figure, it kind of, so it almost looks like it's maybe a part of this landscape of gold, and maybe there's some color underneath. They put the gold on top of it, and creates an interesting effect.
Yeah, the gold is really kind of an interesting piece to this, how it contrasts with these other colors. What color is that? Turquoise or the
Yeah,
turquoise and the blues and the pinks.
yeah,
It's an interesting sort of way to balance those, I guess, in a way.
high saturation.
Yeah, high saturation. And the expression is very nice.
The eye definitely kind of circles around. But I think it's interesting how the gold is on top and also underneath the paint.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's right.
That's kind of
It's kind of cool.
interesting.
It seems like it's on top here and then under behind her there.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think that's an interesting technique.
Well, I am a musician, so I can appreciate the movement that the artist is trying to capture. And you can see that she's throwing her head back, almost like she is rocking out on the cello, which is amusing. But she's obviously very passionate, so the artist has communicated that well. And I enjoy these shapes that she's communicating on the instrument itself, and they're rather minimalistic. In the hand, there's everything is kind of reduced down to color shapes. There's not really much transitioning. It's just kind of going from color to color, which is it's actually kind of interesting. Graphic quality.
Yeah, this is a more traditional figurative work compared to the last one. And I agree. I like the flow of the cello and the flow of the hair and the flow of the leg. And again, yeah, the skin tones are handled very well, I think. You don't have any expression. There's no facial expression. So you're really going with just the whole body movement, which is nice. And it seems like she is capturing a moment there where she's really hitting a note and making it come to life. So you get that secondary feeling of something's happening.
But also notice how like it's almost this thing is a second body, head,
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
this and then that and then the knee right here.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's
kind
nice
of
echoing.
exactly. The shapes are echoing each other. It even does that a little bit right there.
Right.
Or if it's not.
That does not look like a painting there.
Yeah, it doesn't. It looks like
Although
maybe AI or something,
These
right?
sort of look like it, yeah.
You see what I'm saying though? Like
Yeah, right.
there's this kind of overly rendered quality to it.
Yeah.
Like to me that looks too much like paint on top of something totally flat. I could be wrong, but AI these days.
Yeah, right.
You know? I mean, it could be a very thick paint. I don't know. It's just so different than the other technique. It almost doesn't look like it's the same artist if it is.
Right. Yeah, this is something completely different. It seems like it's an experiment with a combination of AI and some very thick paint. Maybe
You can even
put on
see, look, see, that doesn't even make any sense. It has to be because this is supposed to be thick and then that's just flat on top of it, right?
there. And what are these bees? What are
Yeah, those look like, it looks like a bee's. It's interesting that she looks like maybe a puppet or a doll that's kind of collapsed.
they? Mhm.
It's kind of like a lifeless feeling. And the hand is nice on the bottom right. The hair is pretty well done. I would say it's an interesting use of color and then a lack of color in the background.
Yeah, one of the things this artist in this work seems to be making a sort of a statement to me of love. Like this woman is over the moon with love, and it's all about sort of this state that she's in, and it's sort of a clever use of this sort of half moon, or what is it, moon that's sort of in, what do you call that? Sort of like the Steven Spielberg logo.
Amblin.
Amblin, yeah, right. So this is sort of a image of innocence, knitting away, young woman. knitting piece. It's those colors. Again, impressionistic background, loose, very loose. Um, again, I think it's more of an illustration than painting. And that's great. I think it works on that level.
To me, it kind of brings up a traditional gender role, or something that was passed down from mother to mother. It's like, this is kind of what you do in the house, and there's sort of an idealism around it, that this is kind of a comfortable thing, and it's something that the female is good at, and it's, again, has that innocent kind of flair to it. So that's interesting.
Yeah. Again, this artist uses the same technique in the background with this sort of loose brushstrokes, impressionistic background, which then makes the figure pop, which I think is nice. And the colors here really are the story in my book. I mean, you've got this nice green against the red, or two complementary colors, and you've got the yellow and sort of the semi.
It looks like this is a very traditional representation of Korean culture. There's the Korean drumming, using it from the side, which is very typical, and you have these colors that are very vibrant and almost has like a pride to the look itself. This is our culture. And
yeah, it's nice the way the shoulders are sort of at an angle, and then the arms are coming across drumming. This is sort of like you say, an unusual position for a figure.
But nice. even the flowers in the hair, that also kind of goes back to the traditional female, and the it just seems like a kind of a generational, traditional.
Yes.
It's trying to represent Korean culture.
So this intrigues me. I like the painterly quality of this. I like this background. It's kind of impressionistic, and the movement of this particular character really, I think, is quite good. How the dance is coming to life, particularly with this foot here. This is kind of an interesting angle for a foot, and I like the hat, and just the fact that it's just basically white, a white outfit, but it's alive, which is really quite good, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, I think with the colors being cool and there's a lightness to it, there's a lot of light in the painting. There's a lot of white and a lot of washed out blues, and that kind of makes it seem like he's maybe floating a bit.
Yeah.
And I definitely like the draping on top of the dancing figure. That makes it feel like
he's like
something
floating.
moving. Or if that's the sun and the moon. That doesn't usually happen like that on Earth, but a little sci-fi, fairy tale-esque. I'm not sure what that means in Korean culture.
Yeah, you've got the moon and a waterfall, and the sun and a waterfall. Unless these are two moons.
Yeah.
Maybe this is sort of coming into night, and this is going into morning. But you've got, what do you have here? You've got basically a landscape with two trees, two waterfalls, two moons, and I'm not sure what these represent.
I think those are definitely waves, which I like. I like the idea that they're all kind of wheels, and they're turning, and then you have a little splash. I actually like that graphic quality to it.
I like these sort of the drips in these trees are kind of nice, or scratches.
Right. Right. And you can see that the red is the same red as the background.
Yes.
But with the cool colors, it pushes it forward.
It sort of has a Matisse quality to it.
I can see that.
This has a bit of a whimsical sense to it. It, although clearly it is a pot, it's showing mountains, it's showing earth, it's showing water. You do have the setting sun, you've got the moon rising. it has a whimsical sense. I do like the color. I like the way the artist has created little edges here and the red down at the bottom that will kind of work around and bring you back up here to the setting sun. But it has it has a very light feeling to it.
It's an interesting piece. I feel like the colors are nice here, but it's something I would want to see in person before talking more about.
Well, seems like there's symbolism in this painting. I'm sure that there's, well, I don't know, that almost looks like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, doesn't it?
Yeah, a little bit. The eyes are a little bit, yeah. So it's almost a little bit of a takeoff on ancient sort of Greek symbolism in a way. When I first saw this, I said, "Oh, it looks like something out of the Greek pottery from 3000 BC, or early Roman kind of things." So that's kind of a modern take on an old technique.
Interesting. It's got this weird photographic distortion to it, like the room where you actually create the photos, the dark room.
Dark room, yeah.
It looks like things are being exposed and duplicated. Like there's this weird thing happening on the edges. And you can see it's paint, but it almost looks like something's a little off about it.
Yeah.
It's a good use of color.
Yeah, it almost looks like gels, from a photographic lights. They've cut them and then put them down on a light table.
Yeah.
And then somehow combine the paint with it. I mean, it's an interesting technique, and it's very abstract, of course.
The blue, red, and yellow, that it's kind of like creating an after image.
Yeah.
That's what has that photographic quality. And
I guess the real thing here is the white sort of pops out.
yeah.
But it's like it's like almost like I say, like a light table white.
Yeah.
Or a fluorescent light bulb, and it doesn't look like it might be paint. It's hard to tell, but it's an interesting abstract work that is really all about primary colors, right?
It
Pretty
is,
much.
but it also it almost feels like it's kind of optical. It was about
Okay.
op art, right?
Okay, op art, yeah.
And it kind of has that like he's trying to mess with your head a little bit.
Yeah, sort of a color Rorschach test.
Yeah.
I like this from a color standpoint and also from a compositional standpoint. I like the way the reds come in. I like the blues. I think it's very balanced, and yet it has a sense of mystery. You don't know quite what it is. It appears as if it has some sort of a shape, and yet you've got layers, lighter blue, yellow here, pale blue, darker blue, and then you're almost at a black and purple. I like it a lot. I think it's a very interesting piece, and I could see it in an entryway or somewhere that has a lot of open area around it.
Absolutely. So color theory is a course that most artists and designers take within their first couple of years of art school. And I feel like this painting would be a great one to look at in discussing color theory, because we have both tints and hues. The artist has used almost primary red and blue, and you can see the colors really merging. And I feel like it would be a great example and something for any student studying art to look at and try to create their own version. I just looked at a lot of Murano glass, and the use of circular
The placement
is a world within a world. And it's very intriguing to me. Green's my favorite color, and especially this chartreuse, I feel like just is so bright and adds a lot of depth. It's not a color that everyone gravitates to, but I personally love it.
I liked it. It's very, again, it's bright, but it's very, it's spring. It's growth. It's things that are just coming up. And the fact that you do have this little areas of red, almost as if they are berries or little, just little fruit coming up. And it's a lovely piece.
For sure. A very spiritual piece. I love the simplicity of black ink. I feel like it is something that is more difficult than meets the eye. And what I see is someone meditating in nature, sitting under a beautiful tree, looking at a waterfall, and this bit of red here with the halo. And after looking at so much Renaissance art and Baroque art and Catholicism,
I love the calligraphic line. I love the fact that I'm assuming it's like sumi ink, but I love the line. I love the way it just floats and is it has movement, and it almost speaks just within the line. I mean, the mountains, the trees, the line down here with the water, and then obviously the signature is gorgeous, and then the chop that's in red along with this figure. And I agree with you, it has some sort of spiritualness, whether the artist is trying to show that this halo around is that this is a spiritual being, or that there is energy coming up and off of this individual. I don't know which one it is, but either way, it works. I love the long format, and I think it's a lovely piece. Very interesting. If you follow the line, not only the fact that this has got color, but again, with the line, if you follow the line, coming back up and moving over, it brings you up and over to the other side, and up again over to the signature, down, and all the way around. So your eye follows the line. You're following the small bits of design on each rock, I'm assuming. And then you've got the green halo here. This is completely different. It's not filled in, it's just a circle. It gives you the same kind of sense.
The green, in contrast to the more autumn-based colors, is quite beautiful. Green is the color of the heart chakra. So I feel like the heart is ascending and becoming one with nature. I know it sounds a bit new age, but it's my interpretation of it.
That's interesting.
It really just is such a nice piece, something, it is an energy that I would want to bring into my home and look at each day and remind myself to be creative and take time to meditate and take time to center myself. It's something that is quite provoking and beautiful too. And again, the use of the signature there, it adds a nice balance.
It does.
Quite interesting.
I think the three of them together are pretty fascinating. You have the first one that appears to be much more classic in an Asian approach to painting, to calligraphy, to their art. I think the second one appears a little more contemporary, and this one I almost find as a sense there's a sense of humor here. I think it's like, all right, I'm going over.
I
That's
get
it.
that too. I thought a water slide.
Yeah. Just the slight touch of the red at the bottom. I love this little extra dark in the water, and certainly where they are. I mean, this figure is about to go over, and it's like, okay, this is it. I'm doing it, and I think the three together would be a very interesting, an interesting approach.
For sure. I agree.
I think it's very interesting to. I have a strong attraction to a repetition of pattern anyway. And so here you see small, intense markings, but I also love the light at the bottom. I think it pulls it up. I think it glows. And then you've got this little touch of the lighter shade up at the top. Almost as if it is, you're looking up from well above the world and you're looking at the topography. I like this a lot.
I love the topography reference because when I saw this, it reminds me of both the sky and the sea.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So when you're from an aerial view, it would be both.
Yeah.
And what strikes me about this is really the intricacy. I feel like the artist had to use very tiny brushes and go in to make these details really pop.
Yeah.
It really evokes a sense of tranquility, which I feel like makes it very collectible. People in their homes want something that makes them feel calm and peaceful.
Yeah.
And this painting definitely gives us that. But it also is something that every time you look at it, you might see it a bit differently, or you might notice something a bit different. I could see it being one of those paintings where the light might hit it a certain way and it creates a new feeling. So it's very successful. I would love to see more work from this artist.
I agree with you. I think, and especially the calming reference, it
For
does.
sure.
It has a very peaceful sensation.
So this artist is obviously very inspired by nature, which is, who isn't inspired by nature? It's the concrete thing that gives us life. But when I see this, my first initial thought is cherry blossoms because of the beautiful purple and pink colors, but also mixed in with these leafy tones. From a distance, these yellows and greens almost look like leaves to me. It's really something that you could stand back and look at it or get very, very close, because again, we're seeing such intricate, tiny detail. But then from afar, it has that aerial view perception. And it's something else. It's really very, very beautiful.
I'd like to see them together.
Absolutely.
And this one appears to me as if it's wisteria, if it's, the vines and the
Yes.
flowers, and as if you're looking up and over. And this is just a bit of the openness of a trellis. But yeah, I think this artist has a very interesting approach to the way he or she looks at what's around, and interprets it in a little bit of a different style. But I like it a lot. I think it's very interesting. Color is beautiful.
So gorgeous.
Yeah. As you're saying, from the same artist, he or she is certainly a colorist. There is no question that this person loves color. They make it delicious. I find this interesting because the backgrounds are very similar to the other two pieces. But then with the mandalas, I think is what the word we're looking for. It gives a peaceful sense. But then the sharp edges of the squares have kind of a contradictory, to me, a contradictory force of color, softness, and then tight edges. So I love the other two. This one is nice, and I like it a lot, but those other two kind of knock me out.
The other two are phenomenal. This one, I can tell that this artist has a very sophisticated use of color. We have kind of the complementary colors and such here. I see this and imagine your kitchen tiled with this design.
Yeah. No, color is beautiful. You've got these half circles here. You've got the movement. It almost looks as if they will move individually,
I would buy the second pink painting because it reminds me of cherry blossoms.
I like that one as well. And for me, it's wisteria. It's this kind of vine, floral vines.
So how much maybe you're thinking budget, whatever, maybe cash?
I would have to see the work in person and know a bit more about the artist as well. But it's hard to put a price on art. And in the art world, art is worth what someone is willing to pay. So
No, they're beautiful pieces.
Absolutely stunning pieces.
Hi, my name is Dale Youngman. I am an independent art curator. I do artist marketing, management, PR, and social media for artists, galleries, and nonprofits here in the Los Angeles area. So I was just shown 3 paintings, and one of them resonated with me because, first of all, I liked the expressionist quality of it. I love the color palette that was used, and I especially like the use of metallic gold, which I think resonates with a lot of people because it's exciting and it's vibrant. I believe that the artwork is of very nice quality, and the movement and the inherent qualities of it are very, very pleasing and can work in all kinds of environments. If I had money and a place to put that painting, I would totally consider purchasing it. It's a really lovely, lovely work of original art.
My name is Charlotte Jovi. I'm an artist. I've been artist for nearly 30 years. I am kind of found everything and art myself, self-taught artist, and I do everything. Right now I'm doing some uh, European classical landscape. I just came from Europe. That inspired me. But I do everything else. The one that was actually it was limited palette with just black and kind of like very subdued black and gray. That and then white, the background of white. That impressed me so much because I believe that limited palette usually works on all paintings. If I have the money, I'm selling paintings right now, but I would love to buy like a Korean art.
So my name is Andrea, and I'm a graphic designer and an art enthusiast. Reminds me of the versatility of what abstract painting is. And every time you look at the painting, it looks a little bit different every time because you see something different every time. And that's what makes abstract painting so unique, is that it keeps giving back. It keeps showing you something else. Why would I want to buy it? Well, like I just said, if there's a work of art, and I actually have quite a bit of a collection. I have 30 original artworks in my house. Yes, and
you buy it?
of course, yeah.
Hi, I'm Angela Sue. I do abstract expressionism from a source that's not me as a human, but from the universal consciousness that flows through me and onto the canvas. I love it because the energy is beautiful. When I look at it, it just feels very, like you feel good and you feel calm. And it's all about the energy, right? I would, if I had money, I would buy it.